All right, let's do another little wall in our scene here that we can use all kinds of materials that you find online or incorporate your own artwork or your own photographs. It doesn't really matter. There's no like, thing that you can do in one area that you can't do in another area. So this is literally just stuff I threw together from my morgue, just images that I had, materials that I've collected over the years, and I've just created this one little composite image. I'll just show you how I did this. You can do the same exact thing in infinite amount of ways. So I'm going to go over here and just take a look at, there's the little mossy decal, there's the brick that I'm using is the basis of it, and then there's just this fun sign that I have had for a long time that I've never actually used. So I thought, well, I'll use it here. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and take this brick here, and I'm just going to go ahead and save a copy right away, just so that I'm not accidentally saving over my original one here. Let me just go to the desktop so it'll be there when we're ready for. So we'll call it brick wall. Okay, kind of a boring name, but that'll work. Okay, so this brick wall. So what I can do now is just start adding other layers onto this. I can even leave this as a background layer because it doesn't really matter. I'm going to go ahead and grab this decal. This decal is on a transparent layer, so I can just say Control A to select it all and Control C to copy. And then I'm just going to come back over here to my brick wall. Didn't I save that as a different name though? Where did oh, here. No, that's the original one. Okay, so I'll just go over here and just plunk that on there, and then I'm going to drag this guy down over here, and actually it's sort of perfectly fit to this texture over here, but this might be a little too heavy. So this is an area that we didn't talk about in the last video, is the fact that we have this little button over here which allows us to go through a lot of different layer overlays. So there's lighten, that's basically any place that's the image where the picture on top is lighter, then it'll go for that, and where areas where it's darker, it ignores it. You've got the reverse of that over here with darken. You can see that looks pretty good. That's kind of giving that kind of mossy little stain on over here. Oftentimes overlay is really good when you want, works really well for stains and things where you kind of want a little mix of light and dark. You can just basically kind of scroll your cursor down over here. Actually, maybe I'll go with hard light right there. That looks pretty good. You can change your mind on that later on and go, no, actually, I think I'd like to, use one of these other settings over here. And you can just move your cursor down there and see what looks best. What did I have? Hard light? Yeah, we'll go with that. Also, you can control that and say, I like that look, but it's still a little too heavy. Well, you have this little opacity slider over here. You can always just like bring that down to the bit where we can barely see it now. I'm going to push that up a little bit. You might just slide this around until I think it looks okay at 100%. So I'm going to leave it at 100%, but you have the ability to control it even further down over here. So I'm going to go ahead and add some drips down from the top of this. So I'm just going to go ahead and open, and I have my drips here and my morgue here. I've got a whole bunch of various drips. Let's see, let's grab this one. I don't know, decal leaking. I'm going to say Control A, copy. Just select all, Control C to copy. Just close it because I think we got what we need. I'm going to paste it in there. Oops, I didn't get it. Hang on. Let's see, open. And then, where am I? Which one did I use? Oh, this one over here. Yep. Oh, why is it trying to crop it? Okay. Control A, Control C. We'll come back over here to this, and we'll say Control V. Okay, now be careful though. This one now is actually bigger. Oh, well, no, it actually did come to the right size too. But just be careful if you're using these that you don't end up creating an unintentional seam. You want to make sure that the end of the thing that you're adding is pretty much equal to the other side over there. It's not quite, but it'll work. Okay, just by opaque, that's way too heavy. So again, maybe I'll just come down here and I'll just sort of go like darken, come down here and see, find one that I like that looks pretty good here. Yeah, just the plain old overlay. It's a little soft there. Well, we'll try vivid light. All right, that looks a little weird, but we'll give that a shot. We can see it a little closer. And then I'm going to go over here and grab my sign, and I'm just going to go ahead and grab the selection tool and just grab the middle of my sign because I don't actually want that frame on there. I'm just going to say copy. And again, you could do this with anything, any kind of art little bit that you want. Maybe add a window or a door or whatever. It could be a flat thing for the time being. I'm just going to add my little sign, maybe like a little smaller because I'm going to make two little columns off to the side here. I'm going to go like one column. I'm going to offset this for a little bit here, and you'll see why in just a second. I'll do that. And then I'm going to, so do I still have my, nope, that's there. Grab my drips over here. I'll grab these guys again. And then I'll just put some dripping underneath, Control T to scale. Put some dripping kind of underneath the sign there, holding the Shift key down to disproportionately change it. Maybe just like a multiply on this, just give a little bit of a darker, yeah, that looks okay. Maybe I'll knock that down a little bit. All right, so you get the idea. You could get really, have all kinds of fun. You can come in here and paint original stuff on here, whatever you want. Maybe I'm thinking maybe the life preserver sign looks a little bright, so we'll just come up over here to the adjustments here, brightness, contrast, and I'll just, where's my settings here? Well, they're on my other screen. There we go. And I'm just going to drop the brightness down a little bit. There we go. So it's not quite so, yeah, well, a little bit. Yeah, 50% drop there. Okay. That looks a little less, you know, glary there. Okay, that looks pretty good. So now I don't even need to flatten these layers. You can say this is a Photoshop layer as it is right now and come back and change it later on. That's actually a good idea. Or you can come over here and say File and then just save a copy. So if you go to save a copy, I'm going to go again to the desktop and we're just going to call this new wall thing, whatever name that makes more sense for you. And then we're going to jump back over here into Blender and we're going to bring this guy in. So just like we did before, Shift A to add a new image as plane. And then we're going to go to the desktop and we're going to find new wall thingy. There we go. There's my new wall. I'm going to go and scooch it. Move my post out of the way there. I'm grabbing the wrong thing. Come here, you. And then here, I'm just going to zoom in there. And so now what I can do with this is actually, well, actually, let's fix this one setting over here. We're going to come down here to our alpha blend, make that opaque to make it not look translucent. And then we're going to come up here to roughness and just push roughness all the way up. Now maybe we want a mask here that makes the slimy bits kind of shiny and the brick parts rougher. That's where an actual mask would come in, but we're not going to worry about that right now. Okay, so now I've got a nice little, here, let me just move this guy back. Oh, I made a copy. I didn't intend to. I'm struggling with my, here, trying to move things like I'm in Unreal, because I'm in Unreal a lot here. There we go. And I'm just going to grab that dang green arrow there. That's the reason why all these pop-up windows keep on happening. I keep on forgetting that I'm using the Blender movement here instead of the Unreal movement. So that looks pretty good. You can also hit the home button too. That'll kind of zoom in the full scene in there. And then you can hit the period button if you have a full-size keyboard to zoom into just the thing that you have selected. That's kind of like the focus button in Unreal. Okay, so with this guy selected, I'm actually going to go over here into the edit mode. You can also hit the tab key. In fact, you should do that. I'm going to hit the tab key here in edit mode, and I want to make a column over here. I want to take this little bit and I want to extrude it out so I can create a kind of a hallway of these with a column on the one side. The way I'm going to do that is I'm going to move myself over here into the edge mode. That's 1, 2, and 3 on your keyboard there. Will toggle you through vertices, which is the corners, edges, or the faces, but I want to be in 2. I want to be in this one over here. So I can just move my cursor kind of up over here. I'm going to say Control R. And when I say Control R, if I go on the side there, you can see it's horizontal. If I'm up at the top, it's vertical. I'm going to click once, and I'm just going to slide this guy around until it's maybe like right over there, kind of near the sign. Well, maybe like, I don't know, right about there. So now I've just put a cut in here. So what I can do now is pull this face out and make this a little bit of a column. But I'm actually going to do the same thing for my sign over here. So I'm just going to go over to the edge and say Control R. I'm going to slide up to the underside of my sign and then Control R again. And I'm going to slide it up to the underside here. My snapping is being annoying. There we go. And then Control R over here on that end. You can see what I'm doing is just like outlining the sign. So when I extrude the sign. Why have a really weird snapping happening on here? I need to see what is going on here. I'm going to GG and just slide this guy along here. You know what really wants to snap? I've got something going on with my snapping really turned on there. So there we go. Okay. Really aggressive snapping. Okay, so now what I want to do is pull these faces forward. So now I'm actually going to move into this face mode right over here. I'm going to click on the face of this guy, and I'm going to hit E to extrude. If I could just move it right now. Let me scooch over and I'll show you what that, again, what program am I in? I have to think. There we go. I could just move it forward, but you can see what it does is this is going to take all the edges with it, and we don't, well, actually, that kind of looks cool, but we don't want that. We want to make this look like a sign. So I'm going to hit E to extrude, and I'm just going to push this little extrusion out a little bit. Now we are stretching the material there, but we're probably not going to notice, but we could fix that. I'll show you how to fix it on this brick column over here. So now our sign actually has some actual depth. Let's do the same thing over here. We want to grab this guy and hold the shift key down and grab these other two faces because they got cut across this way. I'm going to say E to extrude. I'm going to pull this guy out here so it's kind of like a little column over there. Okay, we could kind of get away with not messing with the edges of the sign, but this is atrocious here, this blurry edge over here. So we can fix this very quickly. In fact, we can even kind of go up to the top view over here and just delete that face because we don't need it. There's one of the bottom two, but I won't mess with it right now. So what we can do is go into the UV editing mode over here. If we go into this view, and for some reason it always wants to drop you into the Untitled textured view. I'm blanking on the word there, but anyway, I'm going to hold the middle mouse button and slide over here, and I'm going to just move over into that view so we can actually see what we're doing. And there's our there we go. There's our, oh, I want to turn it over this way. There we go. Okay, so I want to see these edges. Now I can click this little arrow right up over here. That'll actually let me see my UV layout over here. And if I grab this face and this face and this face, notice that it gave us the texture right away. The reason why it's all smeared like that is it's only running along that 1 pixel. This is taking that 1 pixel and smearing it all across the face. So all we need to do this is just in this window over here with the faces that we want to fix selected, just hit the U key and just go to unwrap. So we're just going to say unwrap, and now what it's done is it said, oh, okay, well now I've got a face over here that actually looks right. And if I want, I could use the G key to move this around and make it so that it kind of lines up with where the edge of the bricks is there. Doesn't need to be perfect, but yeah. Now you can see it's actually that same brick wrapping around there, so maybe we should scooch it over a little bit more like that. Yeah, as long as we kind of keep the coursing going across there, that actually looks pretty good. That's not too bad. We do the exact same thing on the other side. I am not in Unreal. I've got to do. There we go. I'm doing all these Unreal keyboard shortcuts. Okay, same thing over here. So unwrap. Oh, and look, we got an opportunity to fix this. What the heck happened over here? Well, we can rotate this. Remember, we know how to rotate things by using the R key, but be careful about where your cursor is. So if I'm over here and I hit the rotate tool, then I'm going to twist my wall around there. Again, looks cool, but not what we want. What I'm going to do is make sure that my cursor is on this side. So when I hit the R key and I rotate around, I can also just type R90 and then enter, and that'll fix it as well. And then I can hit the G key, and it doesn't matter that they're overlapping over here. I can just go like that. But yeah, there we go. So that looks pretty good, even though we've got, you know, maybe not the perfect seam on that edge there, but that'll do for what we want to do. So now I'm going to jump back into the layout view here now that we've fixed our little chunk of wall. And I'm going to do the same exact fix with the let me get out of an object mode. Yep, I'm going to come over here to the modifier right there, the little wrench. And I'm going to add my little array on here, and we'll just kind of make a little hallway. And you can see what that's done now because we did the column on the one side and not both sides. We've got this looking like there's a column going in. That one's really bugging me right there, but that's okay. And then, oh, where did our wood beams go? Oh, they're over there. Okay. So here, let's grab this. Oh, and we didn't make it very big here too. So I'm gonna jump into the edit mode and select all. I'm gonna scale inside here so that it preserves our array. I'm just gonna say S2 to just make it twice as big. And then let's yank this guy up in the air, something like that. That looks pretty good. Jump out of edit mode, hit the tab key to do that, whatever. I'm going to look through the camera and see where we're at. Oh, we're nowhere where we want to be. There's also a really cool thing for moving the camera around in this view. If you do Shift and tilde up at the top there, you can use the WASD keys like I keep on trying to do. That's like it is in Unreal. Maybe I'll just move the camera. I don't know. You know, I think I'm going to move the wall. Let's move the camera over here. Something like that. That's pretty much where it was again. Just click to stop doing that. I'm going to grab this wall, R and Z and 90. So I've only moved it in the Z axis, so it's not flipping around in weird ways. Grab that green arrow. There we go. That's kind of more what I had in mind. Something like that. There we go. You can hit the home button on your screen to fill the screen with what's going on in the camera. That looks pretty good here. And let me grab this little wall over here and we'll just pack this in at the end there. Okay, let's add, you know, and you can see we could very easily do this. You know, we created this little guy over here. We could Shift-D to duplicate. We can yank that up. We can Y90 to move it in that direction. Now we've got kind of a sort of beam thing going on overhead. You know, we can change the scale of that. You can really start playing really quickly. There's just a couple little elements here. In fact, let me grab this guy and I'll make it like it's a kind of a post that's holding up that. Here, let me go to the top view so I can see what I'm doing. And use the 7 key on my number pad if you have one of those to do that. Otherwise, you can click on these little buttons over here. Okay, so there we go. Let's bring in Miles. One last thing here. I'm going to just bring in Miles. I'm going to say Shift-A, and I'm going to bring in Images Planes. I shouldn't say Miles. I should say the shoveler. And where's the shoveler? There he is. So we can bring him in right over here. Notice that you do have this little button right here if you want to. I don't recommend doing this right now, but if you click this little button here that says Track Camera, it will always face the camera, except it'll also kind of tip up and down. So I wouldn't recommend doing that for right now. I just say maybe you want to do that when you get around to editing and that kind of stuff here, but we're going to just say import the Miles character. And there he is. Let's go ahead and scale him up. I'm just going to type S and 2. Well, that's too big. I'm going to undo that, say S1.5. There we go. I'm going to scooch him back here into the scene and pull him up into the air. Where did he go? He's way back there now. Put him right kind of in the middle ground here. Something like that. Look at the camera. See where we're doing. There he is. Oh, he's still way too low. So we're just kind of positioning him here in the scene. Might have made him a little too big. Yeah, he's a little too big. And what's something weird going on with this like transparency there behind him? But let me look through the camera and see what's happening. Yeah, I think what we want to do too is just double check this setup here. Oh yeah, for some reason now he's defaulted. No, alpha blend. Let's set this blend mode. I selected the images plane, clicked on the beach ball here. I'm going to go ahead and switch this to alpha hashed. And there we go. That fixed that weird, it was having a hard time kind of deciding what was solid and what wasn't. This post is too far. The beam's not even in the shot here, so I shouldn't even worry too much about that. So I'm going to scooch him over there. You get the idea. Yeah, add some lights in here. I could come in here and say Shift A, and we'll add a point light or something. Point light. We'll just drop it right here in the foreground right in front of him. Maybe we'll make it a flamey orangey color there. Something like that. We'll make it 100 watts. That's probably not bright enough. But let's see. Switch over to the rendered view, get a sense of what it's going to look like through the camera. Oh yeah, there we go. Come on, go through the camera. There we go. Yeah, I'm going to Shift tilde again and just tweak the camera up there a little bit. And that beam's bugging me, but you get the idea. You can set up your own shots and then hit F12 or go up to the render tab. Where is the render tab? I never click on it because I always use F12. Render, there we go. And then you get, there you go. There's an image now that you can save this image and send it out. So you can go over here, see all the various images that you've been rendering, and then you can, over here to this tab, there we go, this one here, and so just save it as whatever you want, however big you want it, that kind of thing. And that's how you can create a little bit of simple geometry in very easily by just cutting up your images as planes and then adding in characters into the scene just by using their transparent backgrounds.